No, no, no. Oh, hey, how you doing? I was just going through my reprints that aren't legal in standard and my blue cards and trying to decide which ones are still relevant with Final Fantasy. Turns out, none of these. So, let's get into it. Today for this video, I am going to go over specifically week 1 of the Blue and Through the Ages cards that Final Fantasy has just announced this last week. First off, we have Dragoon's Wyvern, which is 2 and a blue, flying. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token, and it's a 2/1. I think it's basically fine. It is, what, 3 for 2 creatures essentially, so worst case 2 blockers or something that you can throw a bunch of artifact equipment on if you just need somebody to hold it until you get out your good old Cloud, your big guy. But that's another video. Sure, Dragoon's Wyvern, fine. I think it works fine in like sealed events. Next up, we have already a heater of a card, just precursor to what the set is. We have Y'shtola Roll, all of the pronunciations, because I played Final Fantasy X and that's about it, and I still pronounce them all wrong, I found out, so we're doing good. We have 4 blue legendary creature cat druid. At the beginning of your end step, exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Then if it's the first end step of the turn, there's an additional end step after this step. So basically you get a better Conjurer's Closet for a blue more, basically, and one of your colorless ends up being a blue, but you get an additional end step, so all of those beginning of end step triggers trigger again. And you can also have some cool, interesting little interaction if you're looking at, say, commander side of things, where you could create multiple copies of this and kind of bounce both of them and just create a bunch of additional end steps potentially, because they're all triggering on the first end step. So you could have like 5 end steps or something like that. And then, like I said, Conjurer's Closet. So you get a bunch of ETB or leave the battlefield effects that end up being real sweet. That's Commander though. What does it look like in sealed events and standard and those type of things? I think it's decent. It's a 3/5, so if nothing else, you get it down and it's a big blocker and you can get some additional triggers off of it. But I think sealed, sure, it's fine, but standard, not gonna work out for us. Next up, we have Jill, Shiva's Dominant, 3 and a blue. And when Jill enters, return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So good old bounce effect, but wait, there's more. So we have 3 blue tap, exile Jill, then return it to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control, activate only as a sorcery. So what does that look like? Mesmerize for the first 2 triggers. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Cool, love a good unblockable. And then the third and final is Cold Snap. Tap all lands your opponents control, exile Shiva, then return it to the battlefield front side face up, and it is a 4/5. This could be very spooky because the creature just doesn't go away when the saga ends up falling off because it has, 3 counters on it. It just comes back and you can do it again. So I think this goes in a similar fashion of Commander, probably pretty good. In sealed events, probably decent if you can end up getting to the 5 mana in order to tap it and get that flip ability. Next up, we have Ice Magic, and this is going to, I believe, end up being a cycle, because spoiler alert, there is a Fire Magic card, and it's 1 blue for an instant, and kind of similar to Spree from Thunder Junction, you can pay more in order to get additional abilities. So the first one is Blizzard, and you can pay 0, return target creature to its owner's hand. The second one is you can pay 2 colorless, target creature's owner puts it on their choice of the top or bottom of their library. Sweet. And then the third leveled up, most powerful version of it is an additional 5 and blue. Target creature's owner shuffles it into their library. So that could be real good. Next up we have Matoya, and this card is going to be insane. They have broken, I think they have broken Surveil and Scry. So you're looking at a card like Preordain, right? 1 and what is it? Scry 2 and then draw a card. Well, now Preordain just becomes, with this little guy out on the field, is basically Scry 2 then draw 3. Think it's a great card. Next up, going along with the little artifact creature thing that we saw dating back to what, Aether Drift, is Valkyrie Aerial Unit. So 5 blue artifact creature. It has affinity for artifacts, it has flying, and when this creature enters, Surveil 2. So looking back at it, Matoya kind of has a little bit of synergy there with it, and it's a 5/4. If you are playing an artifact deck that utilizes blue, this could be great for you. If you are playing a deck with Matoya, this is double great for you. Next up, we have Astrologian's Planisphere, and this is the first instance that we have of a new Final Fantasy ability, Job Select. So what is Job Select? Consider it like Living Weapon, except rather than a 0/0 germ, you get a 1/1 colorless hero creature token that comes in, and you attach the equipment that you just cast directly onto that token that you just created. So this card, equip creature, is a wizard in addition to its other types, and has, whenever you cast a non-creature spell and whenever you draw your third card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and it has a ability of equip 2. If you have a non-creature spell, just like a basic wizard spell slinger, thinking about you, VV, it could be insane because your creature can get super big. Next up we have Sage's Noliths. All right, 1 and a blue. It also has Job Select, and equipped creature gets +1/+0, has whenever this creature attacks, untap target attacking creature, and is a cleric in addition to its other types, equip 3. This is awesome. You can target that this is attached to. Next up, we have our first vehicle that we're looking at, the Prima Vista. 4 and a blue for a vehicle flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, the Prima Vista becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Crew 2, it's a 5/3. Once again, Spell Slinger deck. This goes insane as long as you're casting a little bit bigger spells, because it just turns into a creature. You don't have to worry about equipping it, and you can go and swing. This is something that we're definitely seeing Wizards start doing within vehicles themselves. They're trying to find ways to just ignore the crew cost. Next up, we have Ultimecia, Temporal Threat, 4 blue. When Ultimecia enters, tap all creatures your opponents control. Ouch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So, great card. It's going to be really good in Commander. I think if you can get it off in Limited and those type of things, it's going to be amazing. I think it's too expensive for things like Standard, unless you have ways to kind of cheat it out. It's going to be a really good card. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm not excited to play against it. Sahagin, 1 and a blue. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and it can't be blocked this turn. Spellslinger again, with that limitation of let's make it a bigger spell. So this card I can see getting out of hand, and people finding ways to create cast triggers off of big crunchy spells that are non-creature spells that are going to keep adding counters to it. Also, there's flashback in this set, and that's going to count for you too. I like what we have going on here. I think it takes a little bit to get up and going, but once you're up and going, you're off. You're gone. Now, retrieve the Esper, 3 and a blue. Create a 3/3 blue robot warrior artifact token. Then, if this spell was cast from the graveyard, put 2 +1/+1 counters on that token. And here you go, you have flashback, 5 and a blue. So just as a reminder, you may cast the spell from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. This is how you trigger all those if you spent 4 or more mana, which I understand it's 4 already by itself, but you get 2 triggers off of that. I think the card is definitely interesting. You get a 3/3, and then if it was cast from the graveyard, you can put a +1/+1 counter on the token. It becomes a 5/5. Next up, Dreams of Laguna. And 1 and a blue, surveil 1, then draw a card. Flashback of 3 and a blue. Decent card. I think in surveil decks, this is kind of an auto include, especially, you know, as a good old instant. I think it has its place. I don't think it's 100% broken, but it is kind of cool that it does have flashback on it that you can utilize also. And the flashback cost is 4 mana, so you trigger all of those spells that want 4 mana non-creatures. Next up, we have a straight summon, Leviathan. So for blue, return each creature that isn't a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, Octopus, or Serpent to its owner's hand. And then the next 2 steps on the summon until end of turn, whenever a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, Octopus, or Serpent attacks, draw a card. This has Ward 2 and it's a 6/6. Now, yes, you end up just being able to attack once, but if you have a way to manipulate the counters and say pull the counters off and put them on just a regular creature, the counters don't do anything on a regular creature. So if you keep doing that, you can keep them around for a long time. Kind of insane card. Ward 2, 6/6, draw a card on the second trigger of it. 2 and a blue. And has the ability of blue magic. When it enters, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. If that spell would be put into the graveyard, exile it instead, and it's a 2/2. So this is really cool because you can get your, once again, 4 mana cost value out of it, but you may cast target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard, not just yours. So anybody that played a real sweet card or has a card in their graveyard that is going to get you out of a sticky situation. So you can also use that to kind of combat against flashback costs too, because you're exiling it and you're paying basically a less than flashback cost to get that card out. Really sweet. And our last blue card of week 1. So Realms Sketching. 2 blue. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact, creature, or land. Sweet little card. I love that for 4 you just basically almost any permanent. Love a good copy effect. And now what I would like to do, we are going to go through the Through the Ages cards. We're not going to be taking too much time on it. Here we go. We have a good old Tidus, and yeah, it's Thrasios. Like I said, Final Fantasy X was my first introduction into the Final Fantasy universe and the Final Fantasy realm. I love the art. Good old Strixhaven Stadium. I like this. This feels cleaner to me. It looks very good. I like the art. Having Strixhaven Stadium as a reprint within the Final Fantasy universe. Next up, we have good old Smuggler's Copter being reprinted. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Next up, we have Ishin 2 Heavens as One. I like this art. I think it looks clean, even though it's kind of like a pre-rendered drawing. It's not like a cinematic type of thing. I like this. I like this. This looks really clean for me. Next up, we have Sissel. So, which would end up being Timna the Weaver. So, first off, we need a reprint of that card because it's just insane. I think it's almost $50 now. So, glad to see a reprint come through. I understand it's not going to be printed in mass like a regular set, but decent art. I understand why people appreciate it. I don't think it's 100% for me, but it still looks cool. Then we have, because we needed another Jodah the Unifier. Same thing with this, and I understand this is going to be a theme. I like what they did. It's okay. It's not 100% my style art, but still cool. I do like this one though. This looks really pretty. I like this, and it kind of reminds me, just because of the signature in the bottom left here, it reminds me of real old Magic artwork where the artist would sign onto the artwork also. And this is Mizzet's Mastery, because I noticed I forgot to say it. It's just really pretty. I like all the blending of the colors. Now we have Lightning Bolt, because every set needs a Lightning Bolt. And then we have Venser, Shaper, Savant. Love this in my little Brago deck. I think the art's okay. Now we're going on to Urza, Lord High Artificer. So this is on the good old Game Changer list. I appreciate that it got a reprint, because it's another card that is creeping up in price and getting more and more expensive. Now we have Yawgmoth, Thran Physician. Glad to see a reprint on it. I like this looks like early renderings, or not renderings, but early sketching of the design of the character. This one I think sits better with me than some of the other ones. Now we have Mangara the Diplomat, and this one's kind of cool. It's watercolory feel. Then we have Kirik, Son of Yawgmoth. I think I like the dark background better, which it fits in because it's a black card also, but cool little artwork that they put in there. Then we have Muldrotha, because that is another card that needed 5,000 reprints like Lightning Bolt. I feel like every set has to have a Muldrotha. Finn, the Fang Bearer. I like this art. I think it looks kind of clean and nice. Then Command Beacon. That's a good card to see a reprint. Typically what I would have expected would have been a Command Tower, so I'm glad that it's Command Beacon this time. Deadly Dispute. I need to pick one of these up because I need one for a deck, but I like the artwork. It's really cool. It's really cool. I like the armor that the guy's got going on here. I like this art. I like it. It definitely gives me like that PlayStation 2 vibes a little bit with the cinematic there. Then we have Bruce Tarl reprint. Very cool. Sick art. This is one of my favorites that came out of the set. Winota, Joiner of Forces. Once again, very early sketching of a character. I'm okay with it. I'm a needy person. I want the nice, clean, rendered art. What can I say? And another one that when I was looking up these cards, I knew it didn't have was Sephiroth the Savior as Grand Unifier, Atraxa. So that's neat that we ended up getting a reprint of that. And the one other card that I wanted to point out, Rhystic Study. This card I think is going to be one of the most in-demand cards out of the Through the Ages series. Maybe I love it because it's near and dear to my heart. All right, everybody. So that is it for Blue and Through the Ages. I will catch you next time on the next video leading into week 1 of Final Fantasy Reveals. Talk to you later, everybody.